What's up, guys? This is Showtime with Showtime Shredded Fitness over here. Size, growth, get big. Alright. So, just to cover some of the compounds, okay, we've gone over Trenbolone a little bit, right? That was that medication for cattle, right? And I remember back in the day, around 2001, 2001, where athletes would talk about how they would go to these ranch and home places, or cattle shops, or these types of places, and they would get some pellets. They were Trenbolone pellets, believe it or not, and they would talk about how they would crush them up and they would make them into a cream and rub them into their bodies. And I don't think you can get that this way over the counter anymore. If it is the case, it was only about, I think they said it was like $30 for a pack of them, and so it's pretty cheap, and it's legal because it's you would just go in and you would say you have cattle at home, you're a rancher and everything else, or a cowboy or whatever, right? Or you just have some land and you got a cattle or two, right? And then you could buy that, but again, because of the Tren-Quaff, because it fucks you up cardiovascular-wise if you're an endurance sport, because it has can have potentially a very, very damaging effect on your kidneys, more so than any other injectable compound, in my opinion, for the research I've done. And so I wouldn't recommend it. But again, like I said, these athletes would go in and get it legally, and like I said, I just don't know if they still sell it or not like this. And then they would either crush it up and put it in a lotion, rub it on their bodies, or they would crush them up and use like a credit card or something, like it was cocaine or something, right? And then they would snort it with a straw or whatever else that would be effective in order to pick up that compound and get it into the nasal cavity and into the bloodstream like that, right? Again, I wouldn't recommend it because it's not for humans, right? And some people say, well, I'm not human, I'm superhuman. That's a good argument, but it can still be dangerous whether you're superhuman or not. Fair enough. So I caution against it. It's not the compound we're talking about today anyways. If you want more information on it, Google the anabolic doc. He's got some great info on it. Greg Doucette, he talks about it. Dave Palumbo talks about it. A lot of great athletes talk about it, and a lot of great doctors talk about it. And a lot of them say the same thing. It's a great side effects, very positive side effects, but a lot of negative ones too. Okay, so we're gonna get into a different compound today. Let's go with another one that's kind of fun, because this is also, because I've also done a video on a human compound called testosterone, TRT, HRT. I got into those types of things, right, in another video. Okay, mostly when talking about testosterone, I believe, if I remember the video correctly, I was talking more about HRT, TRT than I was actually for performance enhancing, but I can't remember, so I'll either have to make another video where I talk about it in both ways, or I'll have to see which one I did, do the other. Fair enough? Okay, so today's compound, last time was for cattle, right? For the animal one. Okay, today we're not going to talk about one that's for cattle. This one's for horses. Okay, it's called Winnie V, Winstrol V. You guys are probably aware of the, was it 84 Olympics? One of the Olympic Games in the 80s, 84, 88, I think it was 84. So 1984, you've probably heard about this if you grew up in the 80s or any time like that, or you have studied ancient history. There was a guy by the name of Ben Johnson from Canada, right? And he beat, or best ever decathlete ever, right, who was Carl Lewis. He had multiple gold medals, 100-meter dash. He didn't actually do the decathlon, I don't think, but fucking all the jumping events. single jump, triple jump, long jump, high jump, fucking 100-meter dash. I mean, he was just a fucking stud, man. He just racked up the gold medals. So he comes in and kicks Carl Lewis's ass by about hair of an ant's ass, right? Because when you're at that level, there's this much difference a lot of times between first and second place. Sometimes this much difference, right? Hair of an ant's ass. You get photo finish and shit sometimes. So he beat Carl Lewis by a little bit, and they plot positive. And what he plot positive for was, I believe it's called, it's a medical terminology, instead of slang, is stanzalone or something like that. I can't remember off the top of my head. It's a bonehead move on my part. I should know this stuff. I've been in the industry for a couple of decades now, almost 3. So, it's I should know this. Stands alone, stand as a wall, some shit like that. That's the medical terminology for Winstrol V or Winnie V, depending on how you want to call it. WV. I mean, it's abbreviated in a couple of different ways. So the nice thing about this is, the thing that I don't like about it is it dries you out, right? Which, as a bodybuilder, it's not a bad thing, okay? As an athlete, like Carl Lewis, like Ben Johnson, you get too dried up, you might pop something. You need to lubricate those joints. You need to be taking, in my opinion, omega-3 fucking, your omega-3s and your 369s, 3 in the morning, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening. That'll help lubricate your joints out a little bit, fair enough? Especially if you're going to be an endurance athlete. You got to be careful with that stuff. But, so you get those types of deals going. And, but again, because it's for animals, because it dries you out so much, and it's hot on the liver. Any oral is hot on the liver except for one. We'll talk about that particular compound that's relatively safe, or safer than a lot of the compounds. I'm not gonna swear on a Bible. Everybody's gonna react differently. I'm not gonna say this is a safe compound. You go out and fucking take it. Since Showtime says it's safe, and then fucking die or have complications, and then that shit comes back on me, and it's my ass. I don't agree with you guys doing those compounds, anyways. Without taking full liability responsibility for your own actions. You do your own research. Don't let anybody talk you into it or push you into it, especially if you're not down with that. Don't let somebody bully you into taking something you're not comfortable in taking. Fair enough? That's my advice. You can take it or leave it. Some people, they won't listen to anybody anyways. You can tell them to take it, not take it, whatever. If their mind's made up, they're going to do it. They're going to do it. And their first question nowadays is not like in my day, where it's all about hard work for the novice guys. Guy will come in first day in the gym, he hasn't even lifted a weight yet. And he's like, what steroids should I take? I was like, well, why don't you put in the fucking work, motherfucker? Fucking Ronnie Coleman didn't take a steroid till he was 30, right? And he took small amounts. Everybody thinks, oh, you gotta take 5 grams, 2 grams, 3 grams a week. No, you don't. No, you don't. It's overkill. You're not gonna feel as good, in my opinion, from the research I've done, the people I've talked to, when you're on, 3 to 5 grams a week versus, say, a lower dose of, it's still pretty high, like of a gram, for example, 1,000 millis, right? Of course, a lot of my colleagues consider 1,000 millis or a gram of test or different compounds that add up to that number. They consider it a safe, moderate, small amount. If you talk to your doctor, however, they're going to say that's ludicrous. That's a lot of stuff. You should only take, at the HRT, TRT level, you should only take 100 millis every 7 to 10 days, or anywhere from 2 to 400 millis every 10 to 14 days. A lot of bodybuilders and athletes are going to say that ain't enough. a lot of it's right here, because that'll still a lot of times get your normal test levels up to, in the sixes, stuff like that. Was where the UFC fighters like to be because it still passes a drug test. So a lot of people can take about 200 milligrams a week of just normal tests for humans, and if they're only doing 200 milligrams a week, they can usually pass a drug test because 200 milligrams a week is usually going to spike people's count to 600, 800, right? You can go all the way up to like 1100. I know a guy who is at 1100. He doesn't take shit. He doesn't take anything. Zero. He doesn't do the HRT, TRT. He's just a freak. He's a natural freak. He's got naturally high testosterone, and fuckers like between 1,000 and 1,100 year round, where people will take 200 millis or more and not have that kind of test level. So, dude is genetically gifted. That's a lot of bodybuilding guys. Don't think that you're gonna fucking come in and just take a drug and become Mr. Olympia, because that's a bunch of bullshit. Put my hat back on because my fucking hair looks like shit. It's too long. So, back to the Winnie V. It comes in two forms. There's tablets, okay, and there is injectables, okay. Most people don't like the injectables. They complain about it hurting too much, it's too painful, versus everything else, the oils and all this other shit, no issues. But then they try to take the WinV for whatever reason. Ouch, it hurts them for whatever reason, right? Knots up, or fucking they can't walk a couple days, like this, like almost how I was with my knee, right? So you got to be careful with that shit. I don't like the injectables based off of the research I've done. From what I've heard, the pills are much better. Again, it's a matter of opinion. You got to do your own research, and if you're doing it legally, then great. Play around with both. One then the other. Don't do it at the same time because you're not gonna know which one's working better, right? And then, you should always run. If you're gonna do this stuff, you should always run some tests, because anything you're taking, other than VAR and HGH, is going to fuck up your test levels. It's going to go in the toilet. And if you take smaller amounts of tests, it'll be easier to either coast or go PCT after the end of the cycle's over. Okay? Is your body your choice? I've been in the industry for a long time. So I'm saving you a lot of shortcuts here to save you a lot of grief. Again, research. And if you're really into this for health reasons, talk to the anabolic doc. Not a guy who read a freaking book and says, well, steroids are bad, you stay away from them because they don't know anything, okay? Their education I covered in anatomy class in fucking less than an hour, okay? You aren't gonna know everything in an hour. I've been studying this shit for years. I still don't know everything. Still a lot of shit I don't know. So, if a doctor read a book where it had a one page of one chapter, like ours did in anatomy class, it was like a fucking paragraph or two. That was it. I did learn in that paragraph, though, that HGH is the only thing out there that actually increases the muscle fibers, and anabolic steroids don't. So you get fast results on the AAS, and the PEDs. Then you do HGH. HGH takes longer to kick in. But there's some athletes, man, they're so gifted. They'll freaking take tests in HGH only to fucking blow the fuck up. They take just the HGH because it takes longer to kick in. They don't really see much results until like way down the line. Or they take just the juice, a little bit of test. Some good results. But I remember a couple of guys I went to school with at Central. One blew up to, he could never get past like 230, 235. It was like the biggest he could get. He took 16 units of growth hormone in a month. That's it. It's like, that doesn't count, okay? And he blew up for the first time. Bang, 242, just like that. He looked way bigger. May only be 7 pounds, but it was 7 pounds of solid muscle. Dude looked phenomenal. Small waist, nice taper, cap delts, everything. I mean, he was very impressive anyways. But after that, That little cycle HGH took him to another level, and his partner, who could never break 250, got up to 263. So you can't tell me that when you stack HGH with test, it's not better than running one alone, okay? Because I've seen it firsthand, okay? So yeah, I don't. People will say, "Oh, growth hormone doesn't work," and bullshit. It does too work, but you know, by itself, it's not all it's cut out to be. From what I've heard, and even with the steroids, and I think that just you're missing a little something if you don't combo them. And human growth hormone, if you keep it really small ass dosages, 1 to 2 units a day for women, 2 to 4 units a day for men, I think you're gonna be just fine. I think there's a lot of health benefits. But we gotta cover that at a different time because I've hardly even tapped on that fucking Winnie V. I'm fucking all over the place, right? I've talked about Trenigan, I've talked about test again, I'm talking about HGH now. Those are all the videos. So, back to Winnie V. So, Ben Johnson beats Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis also pops positive, but guess what? We're in the United States of America. We're in Los Angeles. So just like Putin and the Russians had the home field advantage a few years ago and swept the gold medals because the KGB was switching out the urine samples. There's a brilliant gentleman, Putin. I love that guy because he loves his weight training team. And here in the United States, if you don't have a prescription, they'll lock you up for that shit, just for trying to get your bench press up. And they'll let a Chino out to freaking make a bed for you. If you don't believe me, ask my buddy who bench presses 1,075 pounds. I ain't exaggerate. I exaggerate a lot of things, a lot of times. No, this guy is multiple times bench pressed over 1,000 pounds, and his best is 1,070 pounds, so 1,075 pounds. And the motherfuckers put him in prison for no reason, trying to get his bench press up, right? And freaking let a Chino that raped an 8-year-old boy out. Oh, we don't have enough beds. Let's punish this guy for trying to get his bench press up and let this other guy go butt fuck other little boys. Great job, United States of America. We need to change some things. But we don't need to change much. Still the greatest country in the world, in my opinion. I love the United States of America. It's just stupidest law in the world that these politicians can do all the drugs they want as long as it's legal, alcohol and freaking cigarettes. But then they're going to tell athletes what we can and can't put in our bodies. It's not cool. That's not cool, especially when they're freaking can't get in that because I have no proof. And I don't want to freaking disappear, right? The government, if you piss them off enough, they'll make you disappear, they'll whack you. So you gotta be careful, right? There's a lot of stuff that I know and a lot of stuff that I don't know. And a lot of stuff that I put out there is only stuff that's already public knowledge anyways. Because if I know something that most people don't, that violates the Privacy Act. It goes against my code with the United States military, right? And CIA, FBI, they'll make my ass fucking disappear, right? And you won't get to see no more videos. You have to rely on these old motherfuckers. These old videos I'm doing. Or, like I said, go to the source to tell you about the anabolic block and some of these other really smart guys that can keep you as safe as possible. Because there's no safe way to, kind of like sex, right? There's a safer way to do it, but there's no such thing as safe sex unless you're just 100% absent. Fair enough? So there are safer ways to do it. Okay? So, tarp up, for example. Less chances of pregnancy or STDs. We all know that. Fair enough? And that's the same thing with this stuff. If you're taking 5 grams a week and 20 units a day, well, fuck, you might not be here very long. Fair enough? But if you're doing minimal amounts, 500 milliliters to a gram a week, doctors will advise against that, so talk to your doctor. I'm no doctor. I'm not trying to tell you how to take your gear. You gotta take your own calculated risks over here. But the Carl Lewis popped positive on his drug test too. But United States of America, I got no guy that got into him. Because usually they don't do this, but that particular year, like, fuck, we can't find this B sample. It mysteriously disappeared, right? That makes me proud to be an American. Like, we ain't letting this Canadian guy win. We're gonna fucking put our fucking champion right back up on that podium where he belongs. You know, I don't think they should disqualify Kyle Lewis. I think he should have won that upset. But you sure as hell don't want to throw, our home team champion under the bus. And other countries do the same fucking thing. So, it's war out there. This is Cold War that fucking keeps our wars from going hot, right? Because we get so caught up in sports, it fuels that fire, and gets our testosterone up. We don't have to go kill people, right? As much. There's less wars by community of sporting events. So I'm all for competition. I'm all for weight training. I'm all for running, walking, cardiovascular activity, whatever contains these goals. Obviously, if you want to be the strongest man in the world, or the biggest bodybuilder on the stage, I don't advise you fucking running a marathon every day. That's gonna be stupid, right? So you got to be, conducive to your goals. If you're gonna, be a marathon runner or anything, yeah, you want to do you gotta hit the road a lot. A lot of road work. You gotta put in the miles, right? Otherwise, you ain't gonna fucking finish. Fair enough. Fuck, I've hit the mile. I hit the fucking wall one time at fucking 6 or 7 miles. Talk about a bitch. I don't know how I finished that motherfucker. But I did. But the year before was better because I didn't hit the wall till 20 miles. But still, fuck that. I like lifting weights better. I was way too small back then in the day. But I was running against Kansas for my, in honor of my buddy's dad who's passed away and all of that. So that was for a good cause. So even though I was trying to bulk at the time, I did that run and freaking hadn't been running. I did throwing events that year, my senior year, for the first time. I didn't do distance running that year and freaking hit a wall at 6 or 7 miles. I was running so slow that people that were trying to cheer me on my team would walk with me while I was doing this. So, but fuck it, I finished. I was sore for a few days afterwards, but I finished, motherfucker. But Winnie V, positive side effects. You can get veiny grading from it. Not quite as much as on trend, from what I heard, but close. And you can get so you get vascular with Vinny. You can get tight with Winnie because it dries you out and everything, right? So it gets like real tight, and all those fucking striations like 3D pop out at you, right? From the research I've done, right? And it helps you with that paper thin look because at the end of the day, you want your, you see my hand here, and if you go, work. It should work. Yeah. So you see how this is real paper thin on my fucking hand? Okay. Your abdominals, when you pinch your skin down here, that should be your skin. If it's thicker than that, you're not gonna win the fucking show. I'm sorry to disappoint you. If you're not fucking saran wrap fucking tight, either wait till the next contest if you think you're gonna win. Just still do the best you can, place as high as you can, learn, and then come back. But if you're just like, man, I can't diet that hard, I just can't get that. You might have to find another sport, my man, or my lady, right? But or you could just do it as a hobby still, as long as winning isn't the main goal in mind for you. It's just being the best version of yourself, and every time you come in tighter, I'm still okay with that. But if you're one of these people that get suicidal if you get second place, I'm going to get on your ass a little bit because I don't want you to go through that pain. I want you paper thin, top to bottom, 0 to 3% body fat by the time you're on stage. Because if you're 5% or higher nowadays, you're too fat. You ain't going to win usually, unless you just got a shitty class. So if you're going up against the fucking champions like I was going up against, Matt Loudon and Matt Porter, and I was coached by Roger Baker, and freaking posing every day by these monsters like freaking Alan Cool, who got his fucking Procod, Joe DeRusi, you guys, Procod. I did pose next to these monsters. I was like, God dang. Yeah, but it made me better by the time I was going up against other guys. I was like, okay, he ain't as big as Joe, he ain't as big as Alan, right? So I placed high. A lot of times I win the fucking shows. So, it is what it is. You want to compete with the best to be the best. But I was up against some freaks, man. So, a lot of people, you can kind of get kind of strong with it from the power. Some powerlifters like it, some don't, because you want to be slamming those Gatorades. You want everything lubricated. You want to be firing out of the hole. You don't want things going snap, crackle, pop from going too explosive. But there are some. It does help your strength, and so there are some strength athletes, powerlifters, strongmen that will take Winnie V. Nothing wrong with that. As long as it's not against your moral code. Natural guys that are lifetime masters, I ain't touching that shit. I commend that. That's freaking awesome. You're a winner already, even if you're dead last, because as long as you don't talk shit about the guys that beat you, especially throwing gear. It's like, go do the natural shows, buddy. Don't fucking do the non-tested one to get butt hurt if you get beat. It's non-tested for a reason, right? Fair enough. So that's my only complaint, is if you're gonna be, natural and you want to go up against guys on gear, don't bitch and moan and complain if you lose. Either do the natural shows or get on the gear so that you're at a disadvantage. Watch your laws, though, because I don't want to see you guys get locked up either. Because I'm not giving you advice here one way or the other. It's your own personal power and choice. And so if you get caught with that shit, that's on you, it ain't on me, right? And like I said, talk to your doctors, check the laws of the land. I'm not a doctor, so no way, shape, or form. Like, okay, take 50 milliliters a day of Winnie V and you're going to be safe. I can't promise you that. That's the dosage that a lot of athletes like to take. Some overdo it and do 100. I think that's excessive. Some underdo it. They do like 10, 20 millis. For girls, I can see it. Otherwise, you get the enlarged clitoris, you get balding, all these things. But if you take like that minute amount, like 10 millis, I still don't like gals doing it, because it can deepen your voice, it can give you facial hair, all this other bullshit. And not a good idea for women to take this substance unless they really want to be a freak. And then do what you gotta do, man, because, or ladies, I should say, because fucking, you only live once and you got your own goals. But if you're worried about those masculinizing types of effects, watch it. Be careful. Be very, very, very careful, because I recommend you don't take it. If you're worried about the enlarged clitoris, I've seen those before on the internet, and those things get like a small penis, and a lot of guys aren't down with that. So be careful, and if you can just say fuck them. If they don't accept me, they don't accept me. I'm cool with that, but I gotta be sure you are, okay? I gotta make sure you understand the potential side effects if you're gonna be a female that takes Winnie V or testosterone or anything like that. I try to convince the girls if they're gonna either not stay natural, then do the growth hormone or the VAR, or stack them together. But unless you absolutely have to take those compounds for a certain division, like if you're gonna be a bodybuilder, for example, but you can get away with just doing physique on the VAR and the GH, by opinion, and maybe some peptides, but not the and maybe some songs, but I don't know enough about those yet. But I would advise either all natural or just GH or just VAR or the combo of the two if you're gonna do bikini or figure or physique. If you gotta be 220 on stage, then you're probably gonna have to take some of those other compounds that the men take. Fair enough, because naturally you only produce 1/20th of testosterone levels a man. So keep that in mind if you want big full muscle bellies, you want your arms up to 18 to 20 inches as a woman, you're gonna, on that little frame, you're gonna have to probably, whereas not all men have to do it, most women do if they want to get that freaky. Okay, and again, you get ready for the inevitable, which is going to be a deep voice. It's going to be an enlarged clitoris. It's going to be facial hair. Those are almost guarantees if you're taking big amounts of those male derivatives, male derivative drugs, male derivative compounds, hormones. Fair enough? So just make sure, if you go that route, that you're really, really willing to go for it, because you got to take the good and the bad, right? You can't just have one without the other. Unless you stick with the VAR and the HGH and eat really clean, you could probably be alright without any of those masculinizing side effects. Alright, it's been showtime with Showtime Shred Fitness over here. Remember, this is just for entertainment only. I'm not giving you any advice. I ain't a fucking doctor over here. In fact, some of you guys, if you've done some of this crazy shit I've done in my past, you might not be here right now. I'm lucky to be here myself. Size, growth, get big, alright.